If you're old enough to remember when phones had cords and the only thing that went viral was a cold, then you're in the right place. Welcome to the Big 6-0 with Kaylee Harris and Guy Rawlison. Because who better to discuss life's second act than two people who still think mature is a type of cheese?
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Big 6-0. Now, we have done something similar in an earlier episode. We talked about TV shows growing up like Romper Room and Play School and all those kind of Aussie ones. So we thought we'd vary it a little bit today and talk about TV shows mainly from overseas. My name's Kaylee Harris and my co-host here, Guy Rawlison. We were besties. Well, you weren't actually. I didn't even know you existed in primary school, did I?
I think I only lusted after your Vegemite sandwiches.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Well, I lusted after your brother-in-law, who was the school captain at the time. Hello, Rob. So this is our connection. So Guy and I go back to primary school in the 70s, and we had this great idea, or Guy did, for a podcast about all things to do with being our age, or somewhere around our age.
Yeah. In the vicinity, you could smell it from where you are.
That's right.
That's pretty close.
Or you can turn over your shoulder and see it where it was.
Yeah. It's a bit of, yeah. You should never look back in history sometimes. I don't know whether it's old girlfriends, old boyfriends, or just... or sometimes there's a fondness in doing that though too, right?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you too. Let's dive into the 60s and TV shows. The first one that pops into my mind is Lost in Space, because it scared the day. I loved it, but it scared the daylights out of me. And my mum eventually stopped me from watching it because I'd be so scared I wouldn't want to go to bed because of remember there was one episode where there was an alien in it going, crush, kill, destroy.
Crush, kill, destroy.
Crush, kill. And he was going after Will and the robot.
Oh, and
warning, danger, Will Rupt.
The props were so real in that program.
Wasn't it great?
It was great. You'd pick up boulders, those styrofoam boulders, and be able to throw them. And some of those aliens were really scary.
It was. And then Penny, the character in the TV show, had at some point got a pet monkey. Where did they got that from? With little antennas sticking out of its ear. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do vaguely remember
that.
Yeah, they probably picked that at like the Costco off whatever, some planet though.
Probably.
Because they always managed to get off a planet but could never get home, could they?
That's right.
In the Jupiter 2.
The Jupiter 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Will Robinson and the robot.
Dr. Smith, I loved him.
Oh, yeah.
You bubble-headed booby.
Now you stay here and cover our retreat, you bubble-headed booby.
I liked it because there was the guy who played Zorro, who was the captain, Guy Williams. He was the father.
Yeah.
And he was the only other person that I knew had the name Guy.
Yeah, of course.
So I thought, wow. This is a great program.
And what was the name of the offside of the co-pilot?
Oh, he was a good-looking fellow, wasn't he?
He was a good-looking fellow, and he was in love with Judy, the daughter.
Yes.
They had a thing going on.
They had a little secret,
Yeah.
going on. Because was it Penny who was the child actor in The Sound of Music?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angela Cartwright.
That's her. Was it Angela?
Remember this
and
stuff.
she's gone and hopped on the Jupiter 2 and off she goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you ever remember the pilot episode of Lost in Space, Dr. Smith snuck on board at the last minute. That's how he ended up on there. And I can't remember why he snuck on board. I think he was going to steal something, but he ended up stuck there and it took off because all the other characters were frozen in time for takeoff in those tube things. If ever you get a chance, go back and watch the pilot episode of Lost in Space. It is so cool.
You're a fan.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do that. So
you should.
Zachary Smith, what were you thinking?
Oh, I know.
Oh, but they were always stranded. They were stranded, weren't they, right? They never
could
managed
never
to
get home.
It's not like another...
Yeah, and they had that really cool vehicle you could drive around on planets, remember, with the 6 wheels and whatever that was called.
That was a whole era. There was a whole era of those spacey sort of programs, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't steal your thunder.
No, but completely different to that was Gilligan's Island.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour.
And we're talking in the 60s when, and I guess so in the 70s as well, when a lot of those TV shows were just half-hour episodes and they were on at the same time every week. And you just lived to watch the next episode. And Gilligan's Island, of course, if you don't remember, was 7 castaways head off on a 3-hour cruise. Storm hits and they end up stuck on some remote island where, just like in Lost in Space, they couldn't get home.
Yeah, and
they never got off the island.
And yet they came up with so many different inventions, like, I've built a radio out of coconuts.
Yeah.
But never once did they think I can repair the boat.
Yeah, that's right. We never repaired the boat. And why did Ginger have so many outfits on a 3-hour cruise? And why did the Howells have all that money on a 3-hour cruise?
They're mysteries, but I was a Mary Ann sort of guy.
You strike me as a Mary Ann sort of guy.
I'm a Mary Ann guy.
Yeah.
But you're right. Ginger had a multitude of Hollywood outfits. And yet Gilligan wore the same hat, same pants, same red shirt every day, and the skipper was the same. And yet the Howells,
bags full of money.
Bags full of money. Ginger, bags full of... And Mary Ann always had the little crop top tied at the thing. But then the professor, same gear, but... Yeah, he could make radios. He could send satellites, but could not repair a boat.
That's right. Yeah. And it seemed like all they ever ate on Gilligan's Island was coconut cream pie. I made one day. I found a recipe for coconut cream pie, and it's actually really nice.
Will you do that for me one day?
I will.
Wow. I've always wanted a coconut cream pie, and there was that whole episode. But how many people visited that island?
Yeah, all these, and none of them helped them get off.
No, not at all.
So there was a Tarzan character on one episode. There was some evil magician guy.
Yeah. They all came, they all left, they all did nothing.
Yeah.
But there was a reunion thing, wasn't there, years and years later, where they managed to find their way back to civilization.
Yeah.
And decided, no, this isn't for me. And then
went back to the island.
Went back to the island.
Aha. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And about probably 20 years ago now, the island, you know, when in the opening credits of Gilligan's Island, and you see a picture of the island there. The actual island, that island, went up for sale.
Is that right?
It was for sale, yeah, about 20 years ago. And I think someone was asking, it's only a very tiny little thing, and it was like 15 million or something for the island somewhere off the coast of the, US,
wow.
off the East Coast.
That would be in the Gulf of America, would it?
Somewhere there. That's it.
Well, I'm sorry. If I had seen it, I would have just gone to the bank.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, paid cash.
And you know what? I've got another little bit of trivia about Gilligan's Island. In the opening credits where you see the marina, where the boat's pulling out of the marina to go on its 3-hour cruise, you'll notice there's a couple of other boats in that shot that have got flags on the back of the boats that are at half mast. And you know why? Because it was filmed when Kennedy was shot.
Is that right?
Yep.
Because it's in Hawaii.
Yep.
And I've been there.
Yep.
And it didn't occur to me until I walked past. I thought, that looks just like the marina. And someone said, it's because it is the marina.
The marina, yeah.
So that's a great bit of trivia.
Next time if you watch it, that's why their flags were at half mast, because they filmed that opening sequence long after Kennedy
That's
died.
amazing. I had no idea. I'm going to take that with me.
There you go.
Can I use that?
Of course you can.
Fantastic. I want to smooth that into some conversations somewhere. Hey, were you a Saturday morning cartoons girl?
Yeah, I think every kid was.
Yeah. Did you have a favourite?
I think, see Thunderbirds at 6 o'clock.
Oh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Did you have a favourite Thunderbird? Like
Virgil.
Virgil? Yeah.
I loved Virgil.
Yeah. And you knew the story behind all those. They were all was it the Gemini 6 astronauts? All those characters were named after the Gemini 6 astronauts.
Oh, really? No,
yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Virgil and Scott and
yeah.
I think they were all the original astronauts.
Alan.
Yeah.
Alan. There was Gordon.
That was Alan Shepard.
Yep.
So
wow.
I think all those characters were named after, I think it was Gemini 6. Someone will correct us.
And what about Brains?
Yes, my lady.
Yeah. Oh, and Parker.
Well done, Parker.
Thank you, madam. Oh, my lady?
Home, Parker.
Who didn't love Parker and that
I love
Rolls Royce and Lady Penelope? Was it Lady Penelope?
Lady Penelope, yeah.
Wow, yeah. And so, but I loved that, of all the it had Thunderbird 1. Thunderbird 2 seems to be everyone's favourite.
I love Thunderbird 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And poor Alan, he was one up in Thunderbird 5, wasn't he?
Up in space.
Up in space.
Yeah.
Never saw any action.
No.
Poor old Alan, nothing ever happened
Got
up there.
nothing. Yep.
He had no friends.
Yeah. Didn't read the job description, did he? Like, so mate, you got nothing. No one's really going to contact you, and
And same with Gordon in Thunderbird 4.
What was he? Was he the one
that
under
was the Aqua one?
The Aqua one, yeah.
And he very rarely got a call out.
No.
It's like, please, Dad, can I go out and do something?
Yeah,
and he was very excited when he got to put Thunderbird 4 inside Thunderbird 2, and then it get dropped out. And which one was Thunderbird 3? Was there a Thunderbird?
I think there were 2 rockets, like Thunderbird 1 and but they were both rockets, which must have meant that they'd run out of, what are we going to do? We've got one in space, we've got under the sea, we've got a big bulbous-looking one. Let's just do 2 rockets.
Yep.
So
that's like a plan.
Yeah, I think Alan and who was the other guy in space?
Alan was in space. Yeah. Gordon was in the.
They just took the money and run, didn't they?
Yeah, and the bad guy. Remember the bald bad guy in Thunderbirds? His eyes used to light up.
Yeah, that's right.
He was scary.
I just used to be taken with Parker's eyebrows.
Yes.
You
wanted them, didn't you?
They were very John Howard. He was like, I think they might have mirrored one another. They had their own postcode almost.
They did.
They were amazing. The Saturday morning cartoon thing.
Yeah,
there were so many of them. I mean, you had your Scooby Doos and all those sort of things, but there was a whole series of things like George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle, strong as he can be. Watch out for that tree. George
and Super Chicken and don't laugh.
Top Cat. Are you thinking those ones?
No, well, Top Cat, but there was a series of 3. There was Tom Slick and Super Chicken and George of the Jungle, and they ran after one another. But of course, George of the Jungle went on to become a movie.
Yeah,
and
the others got left behind.
And the others got why Tom Slick and Super Chicken got left behind. I'm not sure,
goodness.
but Top Cat.
Is that when Rocky and Bullwinkle were?
Yeah,
I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And Fractured Fairy Tales.
You'd
have Sherman and Peabody.
Yeah,
all those. Just way too many. Magilla Gorilla and they
were great, weren't they?
Yeah, there they were.
Were you into Get Smart?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this little sunbeam tiger that he used to drive, pull up there and the parking spot out.
Is that what it was called?
It was a sunbeam tiger.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Why I know that, I don't know.
Yeah, and he used to talk like this, Chief.
Talk like it?
Did you have a crush on... We've done an episode before on celebrity crushes. What about 99? Did you have a crush on her?
No, not
really.
What was her name, Barbara Feldon?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the Chief did more for me than Barbara Feldon, to be honest.
Is there something you need to tell me? Okay, moving right along. I Dream of Jeannie.
Now, there's one that I probably...
had a crush on. Barbara Eden,
Barbara
everybody.
Eden. Did you know, and I might be wrong, but somewhere in the recesses of my mind, she was not allowed to show her belly button on that show once. She had the midriff top.
Yeah.
But the producers and something said, no, we are not going to permit you to show your belly button on that. And when I looked back, I'd looked at a couple of episodes and I thought, maybe I think it was a thing.
I think it was a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you had, the whole, little blonde ponytail and the, but yeah.
But at the same time as I Dream of Jeannie, there was Bewitched. So we had these 2 kind of magic women, but totally different personalities and different premises for the programs, but weren't they great?
What was the mother-in-law's name? Endora.
Endora.
Yeah. But they had a change of Darrens in that, didn't they?
I think they had 3 different Darrens.
And we weren't supposed to notice that there was a character change.
No.
All of a sudden there's Darren 1 and Darren
I loved
2.
Gladys across the road, who always knew something was going on, but no one believed her.
No, there was a lot of those sort of things. It's like Mr. Ed,
yes,
and like even though Mr. Ed was always talking to, hello, Wilbur.
Yep.
There was always the guy that almost caught them, but never quite did. Yeah, what was with that?
Yeah. That little half hour of Talking Horse or Genie or whatever was a great idea. Well, I mean, it was the whole Sherwood Schwartz idea of TV shows in the 60s, wasn't it? Yeah. And it brings me to things like Hogan's Heroes and McHale's Navy, throwbacks to the war where we'll do something military sort of based. And Hogan's Heroes, you know, talks about Germany in the Second World War, and they were American POWs, whereas McHale's Navy, obviously the Navy on a ship. And so we had that whole kind of naval thing or military thing going on for a while.
And the thing about Hogan's Heroes, once again, I'm just diving into the recesses of my mind, it was either a lot of the actors were Jewish actors, from Colonel Klink to Sergeant Schultz to General Burkhalter. They were all Jewish actors. And essentially the premise was, even though, you know, it was a serious subject, the producers and the directors, a lot of Jewish influence there. It was to actually make fun of the German people.
Yeah.
As a comedy. It was. I'm sure it was cathartic in a way. For a lot of them, but it was another half-hour afternoon TV. Same as McHale's Navy. They had the sidekick Fuji.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And
how was it that in Hogan's Heroes they were never able to escape Stalag 13? They got out many times. They had tunnels going everywhere, but they never left it.
They had it too good. They had Schultz who saw nothing.
Yes.
Oh, I see nothing. I was not here. I did not even get up this morning.
So, I mean,
that's exactly
if they
right.
had been captured, I'm sure but they always got the people back to London or wherever it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. It's another Gilligan's Island moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you can do everything except to help yourself.
And then speaking of military-themed shows, one of my all-time favourites was F Troop.
Oh, I never really got into F Troop.
Loved F Troop. That was so much fun. The end of the Civil War is near and quite accidentally.
Is it true? Did they really have the Fakawis?
Yeah, that's right. I think so. Fakawi tribe.
The Fakawis?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it was a great show.
Anyone that knows what we're talking about will be able to relate.
Yeah. Let's talk about sort of cop shows and show. Like we talked about numerous times. We've talked about Starsky and Hutch and how you had your Starsky jacket that you wore, and you've shown me photos. Very cool. The other one was Adam 12.
One Adam 12, possible 459 suspects there now. One Adam 12, a 415 man with a gun. One Adam 12, no one. Link X-ray Ida 483. One Adam 12, a 415 fight group with chains and knives.
One Adam 12. That blonde guy in Adam 12 was just cool as.
There was a whole raft of, one. I remember Adam 12. It was great. You had the top of the car going along, and they had that. As you said, one Adam 12, and everyone knew that.
Yeah.
But then you had things like Streets of San Francisco, which started to merge into, and Chips. Who didn't love Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox?
Yeah, in Chips, all the cop shows. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and Emergency.
Yeah,
Rampart 13.
Oh, you watch too much TV.
I clearly
my
watch
friend.
too much TV.
Too much TV, and that morphed into more serious programs like Hill Street Blues.
Yeah.
Mission
Impossible. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So many, and so much subject matter too.
Oh, I know. And the other two, we talked about Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie being very similar. So was the Addams Family and the Munsters.
Yes.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, the Addams Family. Their house is a museum. When people come to see them, they really are a scream. The Addams Family.
Very similar.
Yes.
Did you have a favourite out of those two?
I was probably... it's really line ball. It really is line ball. I did like watching the Addams Family, but I loved the Munsters for their quirkiness.
I loved the Munsters as well. I thought they were a bit more fun.
Yeah, and once again...
Not so serious.
No. And once again, they had a change of cast after the first season because Marilyn in the first season was changed out for a different Marilyn from season 2. Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so same blonde sort of look, not as obvious as the Darren change out in Bewitched, but a different Marilyn from season 1 to season 2.
Yeah, wow.
And until March recently, I think the guy that played Grandpapa was still trading off the whole grandpapa thing.
Really?
Like that.
Years
that was
later,
his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But great. I thought it was great. And they had a great car, the Munsters too, the Munstermobile.
That's right.
Yeah. But
how good was that?
That's another podcast about cars.
Let's talk about, let's get into the 70s when we started to see the likes of $6 Million Man and Woman, the whole concept about, Lee Majors doing all that. We had Fantasy Island, and of course Happy Days came in.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days.
Yes.
Cool. I loved Happy Days.
That was an iconic show, wasn't it?
It was a great show.
I read the the autobiography from Henry Winkler not that long ago.
What'd you think?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It gave you a lot of insights about the cast and the fact that it got to the point, that whole jumping the shark terminology, which stemmed from that episode where
they went to Hawaii and
that's right.
Fonzie jumped the shark.
That's right. I mean, and that's part of the vernacular these days. But so many insights, and the fact that they wanted to change the name from Happy Days to Fonzie's Happy Days.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and Henry Winkler was dead against it. He said, no, this is basically a team environment, and this is what's built its success. And he could also see that it would cause ruminations among the other cast members.
Yeah.
So good on him. But yeah, a great book. But yeah, I thought it sort of jumped the shark when they started to bring Chachi in, to be honest. And then there was another, and I thought, because it went for
didn't Susie Quattro made an appearance as Leather Tuscadero?
Oh, once again, way too much television you and I have watched.
Yeah,
yes, 100%.
She came in as well. But we all loved Mrs. Cunningham, Marion.
Mr. C.
Yeah, Mr. C.
Ralph Mouth and Potsy.
Potsy, yeah.
And of course, the big brother, once again, got written. What was his name? Is Chuck.
Chuck, yeah.
And he got written out of the first series. Yeah. And I thought, is this
and Al's from the...
Yeah, because Al Del Vecchio then become, or was it the other way around? Because
the
guy from what's his name from Karate Kid?
Yeah, he was
the original Al.
I think he was. Yeah, then it went to Al Del Vecchio.
Yeah. So it was another great show.
What about the two that again are similar to me? Different Strokes and Welcome Back, Kotter. Two, we started to see African American characters coming in and being funny and being clever. Did you have a favourite out of those? I loved Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah, I loved Welcome Back, Kotter too.
That was when we first saw John Travolta.
It was. He's Vinnie Barbarino, and because they had some catchphrases, and apparently every show had to have its catchphrase. Like it was
what you're talking about, Willis?
What you're talking about, Willis? And up your nose with a rubber hose.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and Epstein was in it, and of course, it had Boom Boom Washington in Welcome Back, Kotter, and that was my favourite out of Different Strokes. I enjoyed it, but Welcome Back, Kotter, I probably was able to relate to that more because it was about a high school, and Gabe Kaplan, of course, was the teacher.
Yeah.
And then those little...
What about, and the other one, Good Times?
Good Times.
That was a good show.
That was a great show. And once again, as you say, it was that renaissance of like your African-American actors that are in primetime television and making a name for themselves, because harking back to the 60s, you didn't see a lot, but there was a show, and you may not remember this because you're way younger than I am.
Oh, yes, about 3 days, yeah.
There was a show in the late 60s, early 70s called Julia. And
I don't remember that.
It was a half-hour sort of sitcom, semi-drama thing, and her little boy... I can't remember his name, but his best friend was Earl J. Wagadorn. And there was Dr. Chegley, and Corey Baker. So this lady was a nurse, and she was an African-American nurse, and she just worked in that environment. And, it was one of the first shows I think I remember outside of Star Trek who had, was it Lieutenant Uhura or whatever? And, very seldom did you see black actors in those sort of things.
But they brought so much to the screen, didn't they? And still do.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We were the poorer for not seeing it.
Absolutely. Now, let me set your heart aflutter with Wonder Woman.
And I still only wear the costume on a Saturday night on special occasions.
That crosses over into first crushes for a lot of people, doesn't it? Wonder Woman was great with her invisible spacecraft.
Yeah, she had to spin around to change into being Wonder Woman, though, didn't she?
I think so.
Yeah, and she did some pretty amazing things.
Yeah.
But And Linda Carter, wasn't
Linda
it?
Carter, yep, she was amazing. And I used to love every week watching The Muppet Show because you couldn't wait to find out who the guest was going to be.
They had some guests too, didn't they? They had all the big
really
names.
big names.
They really did. Everyone. I remember seeing John Denver and John Travolta. Sylvester Stallone was on there.
Was he really?
Yeah, and there was a little bit of violence on there. I think Miss Piggy was involved in Kermit. I think he may have got a little bit of fisticuffs going on.
Oh, okay.
Not good for kiddies at that time of night. But that was, once again, that was a show that adults could watch as well because there was
exactly.
a level of humour that sort of resonated with.
What was going on with Bert and Ernie? Was that more Sesame Street? Well, they didn't really make much of an appearance, did they? I think the Muppet Show was more about animal.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that was all a Jim Henson thing, Sesame Street and Muppets, because it was almost a TV spin-off, wasn't it, from Sesame Street?
No, I think it was.
Yeah.
Were you into MASH?
No.
Oh, really?
Watched it, but...
didn't get into it?
Didn't really get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MASH was pretty big, but I bet you were into Kung Fu.
Oh.
Little grasshopper.
When you can snatch the pebble from my hand, it is time for you to leave.
Yes,
snatch the pebble from my hand. When you can take the pebble from my hand, it will be time for you to leave.
Don't ever snatch the pebble from
Whatever
his
you
hand.
do, whatever you do.
The show will be over.
Yeah, it's in the other hand. Sorry, tricked you. And there was you may not remember it, and I'm sorry if you do, because there was the bubblegum cards, and I remember being at school collecting the Kung Fu bubblegum cards. And it probably only went for a couple of seasons. I think it was David Carradine was the lead in that show.
Yeah. And he used to walk from town to town solving crimes, or like working his way into people's problems. And
he was amazing, wasn't he? He just had the daggy old shirt and hat and just walk around, droop along out of, Ricochet Rabbit. And
you'd be arrested these days if you did that.
Oh. Try arresting David Carradine back in the day.
Exactly.
Good luck with that.
Were you into Policewoman?
Police women?
Woman, singular, Angie Dickinson.
Angie Dickinson. Didn't watch a lot of
there weren't a lot of police female characters around then. I think she was groundbreaking.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
There was another show, and you might be able to remind me of it, and there was two police women, Cagney and Lacey.
Oh, yeah. That's right, Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah, and I think they were almost running it around the same time.
Yeah.
But, Cagney and Lacey, Angie Dickinson, Wonder Woman. I think I know which way I'm going.
You know what I'm thinking too, another two that for some reason I put there in the same category together is Incredible Hulk and My Favourite Martian.
What?
I don't know why.
Incredible Hulk and My Favourite Martian.
Yeah, I just remember those two together. Maybe they're in the same time slot or something.
Oh, gosh. Wow, I remember both. But but they were like 20 years apart, weren't they? My Favourite Martian was like a very black and white TV.
I don't know.
And The Incredible Hulk, which I always thought was going to be a great advertising campaign for a shirt manufacturer, where,
that's right.
where the Hulk, was it Bill Bixby or someone?
He must have gone through a lot of shirts.
Yeah, like I'm going to go... And I can't bust the shirt.
Did every boy want to be like the Incredible Hulk when he was the Incredible Hulk?
I think so. My grandson likes playing the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, wow.
And so that's 50 years worth of Incredible Hulks.
Yeah.
It's gone generational. So did you ever used to watch, I remember having fish fingers and watching Disneyland on a Sunday night.
On a Sunday night. Yeah. You didn't miss it.
No, it was like the fireworks and the whole Disney thing, and every kid just wanted to go to Disneyland at some point.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think that was followed by Young Talent Time on a Sunday night. You didn't miss that either. Or was that Saturday night? I can't remember. All these shows we just didn't miss.
That was probably a girl thing. I know that's a bit.
Well, that was an Aussie thing too.
Yeah, Aussie thing. Yeah, I'd say.
Speaking about celebrity crushes that we talked about in an earlier episode, Knight Rider.
Oh.
Knight Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist.
Really?
Yeah, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. So, that or Baywatch?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
exactly.
Pair of red sluggos and David Hasselhoff running down the beach, or him in the car.
You can only
choose one.
That's
Which
right.
one? Which one do you want?
Knight Rider.
Knight Rider. Yeah, okay.
I actually when I went to Disneyland years ago, they had the Knight Rider car on display. Got a photo of me sitting in it. It's really cool.
Gosh, I'm envying you all of a sudden.
That was around the same time as Miami Vice, right? We've talked about that before, and Baywatch, Magnum PI.
Yep.
They were all
I met Tom Selleck.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
It was not long after they'd just been filming the first, and he wasn't known.
Yeah, wow.
And we were, of all places, we were in Hawaii. And this guy was there, and he looked very Hollywood.
Yeah.
And someone said, this man's going to be on this new TV series.
Yeah.
And I must have been 17 or something.
Yeah.
And I said, hello, how are you? Shook his hand, and he sort of at least acknowledged me.
Yeah, good.
And then the program came out like 12 months later, and as a family, we watched it and we thought, oh my gosh,
that's it.
That's the bloke that oh, wow.
Yeah,
that was my sort of brush with fame.
Oh, we could go on forever. We're going to have to wrap up soon. We're running out of time.
Oh, gosh. Does it mean that we probably need to go away and rewatch Gilligan's Island, was it? Or no, it was...
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space.
I want to watch that again now.
I want to watch that. I also want to go and watch, purely for research purposes,
Yes, of course.
see if there's a Billy Button showing on Barbara Eden.
I think you should.
Yeah, all right. Okay, we'll catch up later.
All right.
Okay, see you
ya,
later.
bye.
The views and opinions expressed on the Big 6-0 are personal and reflect those of the hosts and guests. They do not represent the views or positions of any affiliated organisations or companies. This podcast is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice. Please consult with a qualified professional for guidance on any personal matters.
Oh, and before we go, let's give credit where credit is due. Kaylee Harris and I came up with all the genius content for this week's episode. Our producer, Nick Abood, well, he keeps the lights on and makes sure we don't accidentally upload a cat video instead of a podcast. So, thanks for keeping us on track, Nick. Nick?